Lovelies, and welcome back to this channel. If you are new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, that leave commentaries, and also educate you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into today's video.
So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys where pan-colored women are out to share their own experiences about, forefathers and all of that. Guys, I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of the stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Alright, lovelies, let's dive into the video.
Okay, I'm going to try to do my best to talk about this quickly and also without getting too much of an adrenaline dump and shaking, because it's still to this day when I remember the story freaks me the hell out. I grew up in a very haunted house in Colorado. We found out it wasn't the house over time, it was the land. We actually did have a medium come and cleanse the house after my mom's first bout of cancer. Tons of stuff happened. I could literally tell story after story after story. We lived there for 30 years. It was bad enough that my dad actually did ask the realtor when he sold the house if he had to disclose to the new occupants that it was haunted. We found out over time, talking to other neighbors, they all had the same issues. It was the land this subdivision was built on. So the scariest thing, it was actually like a succession of things, but when we first moved in there, it was a 3-story walkout basement house built on a hillside, and I had the basement room as the oldest kid. And there was one night where I woke up, it sounded like people were banging on the doors. There was 2 entrances to my room. It sounded like they were running back and forth and trying to get in. I actually heard things in the playroom down there, like tumbling out of the cabinets and going all over the place. And when I finally worked up the courage, I turned on all the lights in my room, and one of the doors was a quick right and then left up the stairs to get up to the main level, turn around, and then go up again up to where my parents were sleeping. I was 12 or 13 at the time when this happened. I think it was about 13. So I hear all this happening. I suck up my strength to like go run. And as I start to open the door, somebody, wham, like hits the door, which made me fly back to my bed, pull up the covers. I didn't have a phone down there. Again, this is long before cell phones, so I had no phone, no way to call 911 or say somebody's broken into the house, nothing. So instead I took my boombox stereo and I turned the music up full volume. I was 2 floors below my parents' bedroom, and I thought, surely if I turn the music up all the way, they'll know something is wrong. It's about 3 in the morning. My dad did wake up, felt like something was wrong, came downstairs, saw that all my lights were on and that my music was blaring, and couldn't wake me up. The playroom, not destroyed. There was nobody down there. Nobody had broken in. Everything was sealed shut. He was so freaked out, he moved me immediately the next day up to my youngest brother's room, had him stay with my other brother while they moved my bedroom upstairs, because my dad was like, I only woke up thinking something was wrong. He didn't hear the music until he opened the basement door, and he was like, if somebody actually broke in, we wouldn't hear what was going on. So I told you that story to tell you this story. So they moved me up. It's maybe 2 nights later. I am sleeping on my brother's bed, looking down. He was at the end of the hallway from the top stairs on the 3rd floor. And it was a direct line of sight to my parents' bedroom. And I was so freaked out about what had happened, I was sleeping with the door open so I could see to their bedroom and feel like, I was kind of safe enough to get to them if I needed them. I woke up in the middle of the night to a slamming sound coming from the basement. And it sounded like doors were slamming somewhere in the house. Then I heard what sounded like running heavy footsteps up the basement stairs. It sounded like the basement door was kicked open and that someone had run around on the hardwood floors to the base of the other stairs and had run up those stairs and then stopped. Now, I was not staring down the hallway when I heard this. I was kind of like looking around, and then I looked at the base of the stairs, and I'm going to show you what I saw. Okay, so imagine that this is the top flight of the stair. So there's a whole wall coming this way and the railing for the stairs. I literally saw something like coming up this way with its hands, and it was like a black shape just looking at me down the hallway like this through the bars. I took in a big, deep breath, and I think I called for my mom, and this thing shot off like a light up the stairs. So it takes off up the stairs and like on all fours starts zooming this dark shadow thing towards my brother's door, and the door I could almost touch from the bed, so I just shot out of bed and slammed the door shut, and I mean, I screamed bloody murder. I woke up the whole house. Nothing hit the door. Nothing else happened, but of course my dad took off out of bed and ran towards my brother's room. It's like, what the hell is going on? None of the doors were open. The basement door was locked. No one had broken in. And I, after that point, until we got me moved into my other room, slept with that door shut. There are so many things that happened in that house. Like, I, for a long time, could not sleep with a mirror in the same room as me because of things I saw. There was an entity that several people saw that my family didn't talk about for a very long time until we kind of, once we had the medium in, people kind of figured out something weird was going on with our house. But I have tons of stories. And I actually, if that story sounds familiar, I shared it on last podcast on the left several years ago. And I remember seeing a bunch of comments of people saying like, there's no way that's true. People lie about this stuff all the time. I am telling you, on my life, my child's life, my family's lives, this shit happened, and it happened so often. Like, my mom would leave the house and call somebody from the front porch and say, I'm scared to be here alone. Everybody had something happen. Everybody. Like, it just was, it was a very active house. I could tell stories for hours.
I have been thinking about this story so much with baby reindeer going viral, but this is my most unexplainable ghost story, I think, and it happened on my 16th birthday. I grew up in an incredibly haunted farmhouse in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. Now, at this point, I'd probably been living there for like 3-ish years, and I was really used to the paranormal activity in the house, but recently it had started taking a turn for the kind of darker and more sinister. For example, around this time, my brother and I both had an experience where we both heard our dad scream our respective names. At the same time, we both come running out of our rooms, go dashing to my dad's bedroom. Our dad had not called us. He has no idea what we're talking about. And then later when we're talking about it, we both realized we had each heard him call our name. Like, I had heard him call mine. My brother had heard him call his. On my 16th birthday, we went to Six Flags over Georgia. I had a small group of my friends and I, my little brother, my family, we all went to Six Flags, right? After our day at Six Flags, one of my friends was going to stay the night. We wound up making some snacks, we watched some movies, and we settled in for the night. We had been riding roller coasters all day, eating candy, and my little brother was wired. He would have been like 12 at this time, and he was just annoying the ever-living crap out of my friend and I. So I ended up locking my bedroom door to completely close him out. I had my bed kind of in a corner of this room, pressed against one door that came out to a hallway kind of over into the foyer area, like the front door. And then the other door was like the door that I would use to actually go in and out. It wasn't blocked by furniture. And that was the one that I locked. But the other door was still inaccessible because it was blocked by furniture on the other side. So there was no way in and out of this room all night. In the middle of the night, somebody shakes me awake. I physically feel like somebody is like shaking my body. I wake up, I look around, I think it's my friend waking me up, but she's still fast asleep next to me. I'm sleeping like against the wall. Again, my bed is sort of in the corner. She's sleeping on the side that's like closest to the door that actually opens into my bedroom. I'm looking around the room trying to figure out what's happened when I notice something on the floor staring up at me. My dad was a teacher, and he often got little gifts from his students. One of those was a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plushie. I fell in love with this plushie. He wound up giving it to me. I just had it in my bedroom as a decor piece. I had it on my nightstand, which was at the foot of my bed because I had arranged my room so strangely. And when you press this plushie's ear, it would light up and it would dance and it would sing a little song. And I looked down in the middle of the night, and somehow this Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plush has gone from the foot of my bed on the opposite end of the room in a perfectly stationary place to now sitting directly beneath the bed, staring up at us sleeping. And as I'm looking at it, wondering, how in the hell did that get there? It goes off.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows.
I screamed. I screamed at the top of my lungs, which woke up my friend, who also screamed. And then my brother came running to the door, tried to open it, but remember, it's locked. I unlocked the door, I let my brother in, and all three of us are just sitting there staring at the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer plushie, which has now just gone completely silent, and it doesn't do it again. My brother went to the living room, put it in there, and it didn't go off again for the rest of the night. I will never be able to get the image of that toy looking up at me out of my head. I cannot explain it to you, but the way that it was positioned, the way that it was sitting on the floor, staring up at where we were sleeping, it was like parallel with our faces. But it's just one of those things where I know it wasn't there when I went to sleep. I know exactly where that plushie was when I went to bed. And from there, the paranormal activity just got worse and worse and worse. Stay spooky, friends. Let me know if you want another part to this.
When I tell this story to this day, people do not believe me. When I was a freshman in college, I was going to a private school in Pittsburgh. I was leaving the next year. I was going to a different school. So my friends and I, some of us were leaving, some of us were moving, whatever. We decided we wanted to kind of hit all the different spots in Pittsburgh that we really liked. So we went to like Mount Washington. For those of you who don't know, it's like a really nice lookout over Pittsburgh. And there was a place near our school, and it was called the Fountain of Youth. It was essentially just like a well that people in the town used to go to when it was in use. So we went there. It was nighttime. It wasn't like midnight. It was like 9 or so. It wasn't super late. We went there, and the way that this well was set up, it was like carved. There was a piece carved out of a rock formation, and then you'd walk in and then get water out of the well inside of it. So the people who were like shorter or smaller, they went inside, and like I'm tall, so I wasn't gonna like go in there, but other girls were going inside and just like checking it out and seeing what it looked like. And the rest of us were standing outside, taking pictures, just like messing around, waiting, hanging out, you know, talking. The girls inside, one of them said, "Hey, I can kind of hear like rocks moving around in here. It sounds like there's something else in here." And we were all like, "Oh, okay, well, that's probably an animal, so just like come out." So as she's like leaving and coming out and saying like, "I can hear something in here," the girls who are outside, me specifically, my phone died. Turned off completely. It was at 70-80%. It was not anywhere close to dying. Turned off, died. Other girls' phones started dying. Then we heard a growl, and it did not sound like an animal. It sounded more like a human being trying to mimic what an animal sounds like when they growl. And we found this out later, that the girls inside the cave heard the same exact thing coming from inside the cave. We heard it outside in the woods. We all run and book it to the car. We get back. We're all like, we're done. That's it. Whatever. I'm going to take a shower. I'm changing, and I see in the mirror handprints on my shoulder. Like someone just grabbed it like that and left those prints. I tell everybody, check yourselves, because I just found this on myself. The one girl who was in the well lifts up her shirt. I look. She has 3 scratch marks down her back. I was like, nope, we're done. I started praying. I said, if there's something attached to us, get it away from us. I want no part of that. And that was it.
Every time I tell somebody this story, they have the most horrified look on their face. And when I tell you, I have tried to record this video 10 times, and either the audio wasn't working or TikTok wouldn't keep my recording. So let's hope this one works, and I'm going to tell you what happened to me in 2022. So this happened when my son was about 5 months old. Him and I were sharing a room. Now let me say this first. He was sleeping 8 hours completely through the night. I was getting enough sleep. I was sleeping the best I've ever slept currently, and he's a toddler right now. So this is not sleep deprivation. I want to say that first and foremost. And there are other people who were involved. So let's get into it. I was about to go to sleep for the night and I was scrolling on my phone, and I'm at my parents' house, by the way, at this point. So I roll over in my bed with my phone to face the direction of my bedroom door, which I had kept open before all of this happened. I hear somebody walking up the stairs, which I assume is my brother because he had lived there too at the time. But he stops at the top of the stairs and he kind of just like peeks into my room just a little bit. And I know it's him because it's like his face and his height and his hair. Like he had an afro at the time. That was the outline of my brother. And so I look at him and I'm like, what are you doing? And he doesn't answer me. He just keeps staring at me. And I say again, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you just staring at me? At this point, because it's dark, I could only see the outline of him or it moves in front, like right center in my door. And it's just staring at me. And I look at him and I'm like, Sam, what do you need? This all happened in 0.0005 seconds, okay? So as soon as I realized that that is not my brother, I sit up in bed, like jolt up in bed. And as I do that, I'm still staring directly at whatever it was. It just disintegrates like sand into the air. I don't know how else to explain it. I sound crazy, I know. Just sand, just disintegrates and disappears. I don't go to sleep that night. I'm wide awake, freaked the fuck out. But I don't say anything until the following week. So at this point, I shut my bedroom door because absolutely not. I'm about to go to bed again. I'm scrolling on my phone and I roll over once again to face the direction of the door. This time, in the pitch black, it's the outline of my son's father. And at first, I was like, why are you just standing there? Because he was living with us at the time. And then I realized in my brain, Dios dad didn't spend the night that night. He's not supposed to be here. And how could he get in my house at 10 o'clock at night when everybody's asleep? It's the exact same thing. I grab my phone, I turn the flashlight on, but this time I saw like this, again, 0.005 seconds, just like this super pale face, no eyes, no nose, no mouth, but like this menacing feeling attached to it. And again, just like sand, gone. So at this point, I'm not a super religious person, but I feel like I needed some Jesus Christ in this moment. So I go to my parents, I tell them what's been going on. My parents were not a believer before this story. I've always had weird things happen to me throughout my life with paranormal stuff, and they just don't believe me. But I asked my mom to get one of her close friends, a close family friend, to come pray over my room because she's done that type of work for years. She goes and prays over people's houses who have spirits attached to them. So to her, it's just to like entertain me and make me feel safer. So the family friend comes over and she's like, I'm going to go pray over your room and see what's going on. And I was like, perf. She goes up there. She's up there for like an hour, for a very, very, very long time. But who am I to judge? I don't do seances. You know what I mean? I don't know. To sum it up with you, when she did come back downstairs, she talked to my mom for a bit and then she leaves. My mom told me that her friend told her that of all her years doing this, she's never walked into a room or a house and got instantly chills all over her body. And that's exactly what happened when she walked into my room. She said she prayed over it for that long amount of time. Whatever was there was gone. She rebuked it, I guess, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. But she said if it does come back, she like told me certain prayers to do to make it go away. My parents from that day forward are complete believers in the spiritual realm. I am as well. That was like so terrifying. I haven't seen it since. Please, Lord, that was the wrong hand, but you get it. Like, I don't want to see it ever again. But yeah, that's my terrifying story, and I don't have any explanations for it. I have so many other ones that also have witnesses to it, but it's just already super long, so this is what I'm going to keep it as. But yeah, so that's my unbelievable ghost story.
And I used to actually film my TikToks out of the house that I'm about to talk about, but when my husband and I first moved back to Cincinnati from Fort Lauderdale, we did a lot of house hunting and we found this really old, really big house for like a really, really good deal. It had just been flipped, so it looked aesthetically like new, but it was built in like 1910 or something like that. It had 4 stories. It had a basement, which was completely unfinished, like literally looked like the underground tunnels or something. It had the first floor, which was like the main floor with the kitchen, with 2 sets of stairs, the front set and then a back set of stairs for like staff, I guess. The second floor, the third floor, which was like the bedrooms. There were, I think, 4 bedrooms. No, there were 3 bedrooms on that floor. In one of the bedrooms on that floor, there was like a crawl space that you could tell used to be like a set of stairs to go upstairs to the attic, which had been redone to be another bath and bedroom bath combo. When we first moved in, we were a little uneasy about it like the first night, but we just chalked it up, like we had moved a few times, like you're always like a little uneasy the first night, so we chalked it up to that. And I should say I chalked it up to that. My husband did not believe in ghosts, does not like ghost stories, does not like anything like that. So I didn't say anything. But I also stayed at home and he went to work during that time. So I was home all day by myself and my dog. So the floors were the original hardwood floors. My dog would not walk in certain areas of the floor. Like she literally like would not walk on the floor unless there was carpet down. I don't know if that's because like she got splinters, but she did not like it. When I was at home, I would often hear like clicking noises behind me, like just click, click. I don't know what those were. And I would literally shout like, you need to stop. Stop it now. You need to stop. Because I just had the feeling that somebody was there. My dog would bark at random corners of the house. Like I remember one time specifically, like we were like touring the house to like my aunt or something. And she like went to a specific corner and just started barking crazily. My dog would growl at the light fixture on like our main floor in our family room. Like it was a light fixture like that basically, except I think it was older. I don't know if they added it in, but she would constantly growl at it. I have that on video. And then in the same room, there was a handprint on the floor. I absolutely refused to go to the attic or the basement by myself because I was just so uncomfortable. Like sun was down, I'm not going anywhere except this main floor in my bedroom. Here's where it gets really creepy. I always felt like I was being watched, but my husband woke up in the middle of the night one night and looked at me and was like, yeah. I was like, I didn't say anything. He said he heard his name being called 3 times, Jordan, 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 and he thought I was calling his name. I was sound asleep. Our owner's bathroom was detached from our bedroom, so we had to walk through the hallway, like literally like out and then to the left to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And I swear to God, every single night I swore I was going to see an apparition. Like you just felt like you were being watched going to the bathroom. There was never privacy. I'm like getting spooked thinking about it, like being up in that bathroom by myself while my husband's downstairs. Hated it. And my husband refused to be in that house by himself. We had a New Year's Eve party where I had a bunch of friends over, and in the videos you can see like orbs going, and they were all in the kitchen. I didn't see this happen, but they all like swear up and down that this happened. Like 3 different people have seen this happen. They had a glass like set out on the countertop, and the countertop was completely dry and the glass just slid across the countertop. I remember them running to me to tell me that story, and like it would have scared me if I wasn't having this party and like drinking, but at the time I'm just like, yeah, like the hands on the clock that sit right there as well, like the hands have just both dropped at the same time before. Like the hands do not like actually work on the clock. Keep in mind, it's a brand new clock that we had just put up. Now, I don't know the history of the house. I don't know who the previous owners were. I just know when it was built. But we had my aunt come over, and she's always been very intuitive, and we just toured her around the house. And we didn't tour her like, oh, what happened here? She was just literally visiting. So we're touring her around the house, and she points to a corner in the hallway and was like, literally, the spirit was just right there and just flew upstairs to the attic. The corner was the same corner that my dog always went to and barked at. She went up to the attic by herself just to look around, and she came down and was like cracking up, and she was like, yeah, she's up there. She sees everything the way it was before it was remodeled. So according to her, it was like an older woman, and the house had been like a boarding house for like women, I want to say. I think it was women at some point in time. I also forgot to mention that upstairs in that bathroom, like in the attic bathroom, there was a crawl space that I like went into to take like a TikTok video, because I was taking TikTok videos at this time. I had like 20,000 followers or something. I was working it. So I like went in to just like tour the house, like for all the people online that wanted to see. And in the crawl space, there was an orb that like flowed through the video, but I edited that part of the video out because people were already saying the house was haunted, and I did not want to acknowledge it. I didn't want to believe it, and I didn't want to see more comments on it because it was already freaking me out. That was 2021. I think the house actually just sold. just sold from when we lived in. Nobody has lived in there since we moved out of it, and I think it literally. As I was just filming that last clip, my phone notified me that I'm out of storage and that I need to delete things. So anyway, we only lived in that house for a month. It was some weird thing with COVID. It's a long story. I'll get into it if you want me to, but we ended up moving out. And immediately when we moved out, it was like, we moved into an apartment and it was like
seriously, lovelies, this is just some kind of, crazy stories and all of that. Scary one. I posted a video, yesterday about, a sister talking about how, the person that she was working for, that happens to be a pan-colored man, is about in his, 90s. He was in his 90s, and he has been, facing some kind of spiritual, will I call it spiritual attack, because let me just give a little bit of the story just for the sake of people that didn't watch the video. Or you can also, do yourself, to just, if you like this video, you can just click and watch the other video. But let me just summarize this, the story that she talked about. So this sister was telling a story of a family that she worked for, and this man was actually in his 90s, and he sees things. So every time he's always scared and all of that. So one day she was just at work, and that morning she was trying to look for the said man, after which she couldn't find him. Later on, she found this man in a basement. So when she found the man in the basement and she touched him, the old man, and he was all cold. He was shivering, all covered. He was covered himself. He was like, hey sir, why are you still here? You could just come to your room and all of that. And this man held her hands and was shivering and decided to tell her a story. So in this story, the man was telling the sister about, this is just something that happened. The man was telling the sister about how some people visit him. A black man and his son visit him every time. Mind you, the said room was all covered with mirror while the sister was still walking. Like when she talked about the room being covered with mirror, with like the mirror being covered with clothes, I was like, how will I go to a creepy place like that to work and I see that all the mirrors are being covered with clothes? That I can't even stand such a sight. And she was able to work in such an environment. So when she was like asking the guy and the man what the problem was, this man decided to share his story to her. He was like that he's a kind of person, when he was in his 30s and all of that, he had a slave who happens to be a black man that was working in his field, in his plantation and all of that. One thing led to the other. His wife was pregnant, and after that, during the delivery process and all of that, his mother and brothers came to the house, and he was with this slave man working in the field, and the wife gave birth to a mixed child. So this mother of his and his brother decided that, oh my god, the wife actually cheated on the husband with probably the slave guy. And what they did to that baby was just something I can't say here. And after they must have done doing whatever they did with the baby, they decided to go to the farm and do whatever they did to the baby to the father of the baby. And the lady, that's the wife, was just all there looking and crying. And you know how it is during those days. You know how it is when you're, as like our ancestors, you have to like respect both your masters and all that. I think that the woman must have lured this man to probably impregnated her, or maybe the baby was just only white person. So these are the things that they need to just put into consideration before trying to do whatsoever they did. So when this man was just narrating the story to the sister that was narrating the story, he was like, after everything that Subsequently, he started seeing this man and the child. They started tormenting him every day. Sometimes he would just see their shadow. Sometimes he would just see their, That was why he covered all the mirror he had in his room. And this sister was like, "What about your brothers? Why is it that these people did not go after the actual people that did whatever they did to them?" He was like, "The brothers already, they're already gone. The other one was in a house fire. The other one was, they all had a terrible ending." And my question is that maybe because he was not really involved in the elimination, that was why he was still able to still live. But they decided to keep on tormenting him. Now, if this story was told by a sister that is not even like, she's still a young person, you can just check her video. It's just a video before this, the one I posted yesterday. You could just check it out. I was like, that means our ancestors are still taking revenge, even if it's gonna take a very long time. That means this world ghost still exists. That means most of all these haunted houses are houses that must have, like, terrible things must have happened in the house, especially, you know how it is, but during the way they treated all the slaves, the way they just unlived them anyhow they like, and all of that. So with that, it has meant some kind of haunted houses to be something that no one can actually tell. There's a video that was actually going viral about some cute cottage. It's a video of, some pan-colored people that actually have a plantation. They have this plantation, and they decided to rebrand and repaint this plantation and name them Cute Cottage, which they they made it in a way whereby if you're a wedding guest, you can be able to secure the place and spend any time you want to spend there. If such plantations still exist and they're still rebranding, what makes these people think that even if when a visitor decide to rent that place, if these slave people that was there wouldn't come and try to get angry? Like, I believe that if the stories are real and genuine the way they explain, that means our ancestors are still very, very angry, and they're taking reparations. These people actually went through a lot of things. They went through a lot of humiliations. That's why sometimes even there is some kind of I feel so scared pronouncing it, because when I was sourcing these videos yesterday, I was just reasoning so many things, because I asked myself a question that was about last week. I was like, is it that after all of this thing happened, after all of the atrocity happened with our ancestors, the slaves and all of that, so these owners actually got reparations? Yeah, they got reparations. The slave owners at some point got reparations because they abolished slavery. So is it that they continued living their life without any form of regret, without any form of backfire and all of that? I was just asking myself this question before that sister's stage come to my for you. I was like, yes, this is what I'm just trying to say, what really happened later on. Is it that they decided to just live their normal life and every other thing that they did was just all forgotten? So it's now telling me that these things, they exist. Like all these girls, all this spiritual stuff is something that exists. And most of our ancestors are still clamoring for reparations. They're still fighting. There are some of them that are still very angry. That's why there are so many haunted houses, especially the one that was owned by a farmer or farms or whatever. Seriously, like any farmhouse must have a story of a haunted whatever thing to tell you that these people really pass through a lot. Even in their, they are still very angry. When I saw this video, I was like, I'm just gonna put it up here for us to actually look into it, delegate, and if you have had such an experience, because I'm just trying to see if I can also get videos from our brothers and sisters to see if they have made encounter with, to see their own side of the stories. So if you have had such experience, you can also, put it up here in the comment section so that we can all, react to it. Anyways, lovelies, wanna just, leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that, and I will see you lovelies when I upload.
Watch up to this extent. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. Do not forget that this channel, we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please share this video, subscribe, and leave your thoughts, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.